Hey guys, how's it going? This video is gonna be a bit of a different one because of the I'm trying to articulate my words a bit. So excuse me, this is just a bit off the cuff. I haven't really, well, most of my gameplay videos I never scripted out, but that's besides the point. A lot has happened in the past couple of hours. I want to say what, maybe 12 to 14 hours or so. It hasn't really been a full day yet. So, but just in case you guys didn't know, um for those, just hadn't seen it yet, everybody has different lives. It's all right. Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball, Doctor Slump, Sandland, and a ton of other manga, Arale-chan, has unfortunately passed away. He passed away on March 1st from subdural hematoma, which is basically like a blood clot close to, it's either on the inside or close to your brain and your head. I had um I had originally looked it up because I genuinely didn't know what it was when, the official Dragon Ball website posted that Akira Toriyama had passed on. So I was a little curious at the time. Excuse me. I'm trying not to get a little choked up because a lot of us are really emotional, and it's just something that's very tough for us to swallow and get through right now. Um, I guess I could start off like how with other people how I ended up getting into Dragon Ball, and honestly just anime as a whole. So it was a really like a really really long time ago when I was a kid. I forgot why I was over there, but I remember as a kid I was over at my Tia Angie's and my Theo JJ's house, which for those who don't know Spanish, your Tia and your Theo is your aunt and your uncle. I don't know, and my audience, who knows and who doesn't know Spanish, so I figured I'd just explain that real quick. So when I reference them later on, I was over at their house and stuff, and I remember they had anime on. If I believe correctly, I can't exactly remember. It was either a Gundam anime or Voltron anime. Like I said, I really can't remember because it was a long time ago. But then I also remember them giving me a. It was either they gave me the season one. A lot of people hate this one. They either gave me the season one Orange Brick uh DVD set for Dragon Ball Z season one, where it was the Saiyan saga, the entire Saiyan saga up until Gohan and Krillin and Bulma were going to Namek to go get the Dragon Balls to revive everybody that had died fighting against Nappa and Vegeta. And that was my first uh experience watching. Well, could I say that was? I can't exactly remember what came before, or if I had, because I also have. I know it's a lot of thoughts right now. Just bear with me. I had a lot of VHS tapes of Dragon Ball Z too, because when I was a kid and stuff, I had TVs. I know this is gonna sound very ancient. There were TVs that would also have a VHS player on them. So my TV, it was like, a smaller TV since I was only a kid. Obviously, I didn't need no super big TV or nothing like that. It was a small TV with the VHS tape on it. And I remember I would put in, the VHS tapes because I had a bunch of the VHS tapes of the Dragon Ball Z movies, and it was so cool. I think I have both Cooler movies. I know I have Lord Slug, that's for sure. I have Broly, the Legendary Super Saiyan, on VHS, and then I had the other two Broly movies, but those are on DVD, so those don't count. Um, I have a little bit of the Garlic Jr. saga on the VHS tape. I also have, I think, like on the VHS tapes itself, I think I have like one or two episodes of the Namek saga. I think it was when Vegeta was getting, it was either he was fighting Frieza or he was getting beat down by Frieza. It was one of the two. I can't exactly remember what it was, but so I remember watching that because they had given me the Orange Brick box set, and I was really curious. I wanted more and stuff, so I was hoping that eventually I would get some more Dragon Ball because obviously as a kid I didn't have money to go get my own Dragon Ball and stuff. um Eventually I did get more Dragon Ball, but it wasn't in the way I had sus you know was anticipating because um I wasn't able to get my hands on some of the other ones where it's like season 2 and all that stuff. The only other Orange Brick box sets that I have currently on DVD is for Dragon Ball Z is season 4 and season 5, which shows future Trunks showing up and the introduction of the androids, and then finally it has Cell, everything that happens with Cell before the Cell game start, which is that next season, season 6. Um, yeah. What's really funny though is fun fact, I have never, since I had the lack of Dragon Ball stuff and whatnot, and it was all like jumbled up, all over the place and stuff like that. Um, I never really like truly experienced, you know, the entire series from start to finish until I was actually able to, get my hands on the Dragon Ball Z games. I have Budokai 1 and Budokai 2 for the Nintendo GameCube, and those games were some of the funnest memories I ever had, honestly. I know a lot of people in the Dragon Ball fandom, like for those who played Budokai 2 at least, I know they hated the little board game thing where it's like you had to move Goku or whatever other character you were playing at that time around on the board and stuff to go fight enemies and find skills and all that stuff. But honestly, for me, that was just such a fun memory and fun experience that, oh, excuse me, sorry, I'm kind of, it was just a really good time. I just remember sinking a whole bunch of hours into that, honestly, as a kid, coming coming home from school and playing that and whatnot. And the Dragon Ball Z Budokai, the first one, the story mode I feel is like just unparalleled. I felt it had the best dub job, just the best way to tell the story, at least up until Kakarot came around, because Dragon Ball Z Kakarot I feel really does tell the story very very well, especially with how great the graphics and all that look. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot's probably one of my favorite Dragon Ball games of all time, but we're gonna move on to that. Um, yeah, it was really crazy to think about because I when I first like heard the news that Toriyama had passed on and such, I really thought it was fake. Like I was just like, nah, it's the internet nowadays. Social media, people can always make stuff up just to get a rise out of people or whatever. But then when I went on YouTube to actually check, I was subscribed to, well, I'm subscribed to multiple Dragon Ball YouTubers, but the one who covers news mostly, shout out Geekdom 101. I went to his channel to see if he had dropped a video or whatever, and right then and there, like I had just saw it as soon as he dropped it. It was like only 5 minutes before I had just saw that apparently it was true, unfortunately. And I watched. I'm also subscribed to Quaman's Land, who's now a YouTuber named Quaman. I watched, his live stream a little bit and stuff before, we were all talking about, well, I wasn't talking about it personally. He was, because, I'm still trying to grow and stuff. I'm not really like, any notable work, any notable YouTuber yet, but that's neither here nor there. So yeah, man, it's just the memories of, Dragon Ball, and the memories that it's been the memories I hold dearly, because, I forgot whose channel I had come across, or was it Quaman that said that? I think it might have been, but I'm not entirely sure. I can't fully remember. Um, I had, related to, if Quaman said this, I had related to when he had said, he got bullied in, school because, liking Dragon Ball and anime and all that other stuff, was, frowned upon by, because it was just seen as something new, different, and but, it's also seen as like one of those weird things too. It's like, ugh, why do you like that? Because, I went through that too. Probably, well, not probably. I did go through that, as well as, like, a whole bunch of other Dragon Ball YouTubers, more than likely. But at the end of the day, we all did not care, because, Dragon Ball was something that made all of us, feel welcomed and feel good. We could just block out any distractions that we had when we would watch the show. It's really inspiring to know that some of these YouTubers, when they're coming out and talking about Dragon Ball and stuff, um, that, they didn't have the best living situations, whether it's, bad, parents, bad neighborhoods, just whatever, because all of us Dragon Ball fans come from different, different walks of life, like I, said earlier and stuff. We all have different schedules, different things we need to do. But even when we're all, not watching Dragon Ball together, or when we're watching Dragon Ball at different times, slowly, but, we kind of all come together just in that one moment, to where we can all connect. Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, it's just, yeah. And, the impact that Toriyama had, not just for, Japan and the other anime that he inspired, but as pop culture as a whole. There's so many references to Dragon Ball and, Western cartoons and things of that nature. The impact he made will never be forgotten, and to this day, I will always cherish Dragon Ball, because I believe it did inspire. Did did Tagashi say that Dragon Ball inspired Yu Yu Hakusho? He might have, but I absolutely love Dragon Ball. It's easily in my top three anime of all time. The only other anime I would say that's like on par with it, or like, is on top of it, respectfully, would be Yu Yu Hakusho, because Yu Yu Hakusho is just another masterpiece as well. And honestly, I can't. The only time I remember actually feeling this sort of way for an author's passing was, well, there's three times I can remember. I remember Stanley, because he died while I was still in high school. I was finishing up my last year of high school and senior year. Kentaro Muria, who is the author for, Guts, one of the, if not the best seinen manga of all time. And then, Kazuki Takahashi, who he also had a role in my childhood too, because I remember I would also get bullied for liking, Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff. Just I had friends who, I would like to play the card game with and stuff, even if, I didn't have like the best cards or whatever. It was still cool, because I got to middle school, and, I found friends who actually played the Yu-Gi-Oh card game and stuff, because I didn't have anybody in, elementary school who liked Yu-Gi-Oh or wanted to play the card game with me and stuff like that. But I'm going off on a whole separate rant. That's, a different thing for a different time. Um, but just truly, thank you, Akira Toriyama. Thank you for everything you have given us. And if you guys are, feeling sad or feeling down about it, don't let anybody, don't let anybody allow you to feel different. Just because we have not met the man, just because a lot of us never met him, because he wanted to be because he preferred his privacy. That doesn't mean you're not allowed to be sad, because this man gave you some of the best memories that you you ever could have felt, or you never thought you could feel before you ended up finding Dragon Ball. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and start to try and wrap up this video with some final thoughts that I have, just about the whole situation. Very sad stuff, very unfortunate. We really thought he was gonna be able or we all were hoping that this would be another year that we would be able to have him. And of course, it's being reported that he had many different things in the works aside from just Dragon Ball Daima, which somebody said, I forgot who it was. Somebody said it was going to be a very more emotional watch now that Toriyama's not going to be able to finish and see the project through his vision. And from the trailers and such, I was one of the many very few fans that was really excited for Dragon Ball Daima. I don't know how some other people feel about it. I know there was a lot more people who did want to see Dragon Ball Super season 2 with like Moro and Granola and stuff, and things of that nature. But as long as we're getting Dragon Ball things that Akira Toriyama himself works on and all that, I really didn't mind what it could have possibly been. Whether it was like him helping for another video game, video game designing, just like how he does for Dragon Quest, Dragon Ball Daima, whatever. Every time this man executed his ideas, it it always seemed to be fully realized, if I'm being honest, because sure, he's made some questionable writing choices, even in Dragon Ball Z and stuff, but they were never questionable enough to where they took away the core foundation of the series itself as a whole. And honestly, um I'm glad that I was raised on Dragon Ball and anime as a whole. And honestly, Quaman said it best on his live stream. The best thing we can do for each other right now is a community, so we can all heal together at our own pace. He didn't say heal at our own pace, but I'm kind of just adding in a little bit more. Best thing we can do for each other right now is just come together as a community and be here for one another. Like I had stated previously, we're all very emotional and all very sad about Toriyama's passing. And another thing, I know there are some people upset that that Toriyama's family, his friends and such, they did not come out come out on the day he passed, because he passed on March 1st and such. Um but I personally don't blame them, because they wanted, before they came out with the news and such, they also wanted time to grieve and remember him, and remember the legacy that he's leaving behind. Because even though he is probably the most popular manga artist, because of how revolutionary Dragon Ball Z was when he made it, all the way back in the 90s, 80s and 90s, excuse me. They did not see him in the same light as we do. They saw him as a husband, a father, and, many other things that, we're not always thinking about, and even things that, we're always sometimes even taking for granted in, certain situations. But that's really all I have for this video. Take care, you guys. Stay safe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Um, I don't know when it's coming, honestly, because I, like, many others, want to just probably take a step back and um, you know, grieve over this a little bit. So thank you. I respect you guys' patience, and if you guys have any Dragon Ball stories that you want to tell, um, you can tell them to me right down in the comment section, and I'd be more than happy to read over them.